Hello, it's me again, Jelly Belly. Okay, yoga time, you ready? Sorry about getting a late start today, but you know it's Saturday, and with it being Saturday, fuck it all. Okay, so here we go. Remember, put on your non-slip soles, and if you don't know what I'm doing, go back to video number 1 because that's the only place that I'm going to go through all that crap at. Okay, yoga time. Do this. Okay, got it. Warrior pose. Okay. All right, what are we going to talk about today? I had a friend ask to go a little bit more into anxiety. Stretch it out. Stretch that neck. Stretch that back leg. All right. Whenever she did, I spent a great amount of time trying to decide what to talk about. And I decided that I would talk about my old friend, the anxiety demon. Okay, some call it the spirit of anxiety. Some of it call our injured inner child. Some of us, I don't know, it's called a lot of different things. What I call it is a pile of shit, but that's just kind of how the anxiety monster is. How have I learned to deal with the anxiety monster over time? Really, the only thing that I finally was able to do was to decide that it was with me for life. So kind of like having a coworker that I'm not allowed to fire is just going to be there and going to be a thorn in my side. I thought that I better learn how to get along with it. So, like any coworker that I absolutely am not enjoying working with, I tried to ignore it for a while. But then I decided, you know, it liked to pop up at the least opportune times. Now, there's a big difference between anxiety and between panic attacks, so don't confuse the two. I'm not. Panic attack is a whole different beast. Anxiety is where whatever has happened in your past that caused you to be ultra sensitive, which that actually is the gift of anxiety. Whatever it is, whatever abuse you suffered and survived from, anxiety is the byproduct. Now, because of anxiety, you have a much you're more in tune. You're probably an empath, probably. And what that means is that you can pick up on your bullshit meter. You know when someone's bullshitting you and when they're not. If I was bullshitting you, you would have already turned this off. That's how it is. Okay. So what do I do with a coworker that I'm not allowed to fire, no matter how much I've tried? I mean, believe me, I tried getting it in trouble in so many different ways, and no matter what, they won't fire it. So, because it's part of my internal team, I have to get along with it. And that means I try really hard if anxiety is going to make itself known and decide to have a part in my daily life today. Anxiety, I like to have a heads up. I like to know I'm going to have to deal with it. So I try to watch for those various signs that anxiety is coming on. And that usually is a feeling of guilt. My anxiety normally comes right after the least little tiny guilt. It could be that I forgot to set the coffee pot in the morning. But anyway, that's me. So when anxiety decides to show up, I try to show up for anxiety. Only way that I've found to handle it. If I don't show up for anxiety anxiety puts me in a corner in a panic attack. And that is no fun for anybody, especially me. And God only knows how long I'll be in the corner. This last really big bout that I went through lasted 8 years. Yeah. And I am now trying to let you in on a lot of the lessons and a lot of the beautiful things that I learned. So, my suggestion about the anxiety demon is, number one, know that it's going to come right after guilt, and we'll talk about that too real quick. Number two, deal with it. Just recognize it for what it is. It's a part of your internal being. And there's not a God-blessed thing you're going to be able to do about it. Because it's part of who you are and the reason I love you so much. Okay. We were going to talk about guilt because I found during my search on trying to figure this thing called anxiety out, my 8-year search, that I was very, very confused. I had guilt and shame completely mixed up. So when anxiety comes to call, when you have to be in that business meeting with anxiety, first of all, be ready to sit down and hear anxiety out before you give them the 1-2. Okay? So you need to find out, what is anxiety trying to tell you? What is it that you're supposed to be guilty for? After that, you need to, or it would be wise, you don't need to do anything. Nothing at all. Just, you can continue doing what you're doing. That's up to you. That's your life. That's your path. But what I've learned to do is take a look at this guilt and decide if it's guilt or shame. The difference is, guilt is something that I did or did not do that I wish that I would have done differently, also known as a mistake that I won't do again. Or shame, which is something that I had absolutely no control over, no matter how much I tried. Now, if it's shame, anxiety gets dismissed from the meeting very quickly. Because I go, oh, that's not my guilt. That belongs to someone else. Go see them. Okay? If it's guilt, I have a real soul-to-soul. And I talk to myself, letting myself know that everybody makes mistakes. Simply everybody. That's why we're here. We come here, we forget everything, then we try to remember everything. Anyway, that's a whole nother story. But have a soul-to-soul and remind your soul that you're here to make mistakes. What makes this a really cool-ass mistake is you learn from it. Tell anxiety bye-bye. See you next time. Okay, everybody. I love you. That's it. This has been a long one. Bye.